Okay. Good morning, everybody. Looks like we've got some viewers on already. That's awesome. Thank you for joining the show. Let's start off. I've got an interesting topic we'll talk about today. Before we get into it, good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Jeff Evenson. I'm a board certified doctor of holistic health. I am not a medical doctor. I do not practice medicine. I don't pretend to practice medicine. And let me open the comments. Good morning, Christine, on the show. Um, the my practice, I'm the owner and founder of Evenson Holistic Natural Health Center. I'm located in Finlayson, Minnesota. It's in northern Minnesota, but I work with clients in person here at the office on the homestead or telehealth. And some clients do a version of both. They'll come in, especially if they have to drive, a great distance. They'll come in like for part of their care in person, and they do the other parts telehealth. But I have clients all over the country, and it is to me, it's a privilege and an honor to be able to work with people and helping them recover their health. And I try to, as a health coach, a doctor of holistic health and all that, I try my best to coach people back into good health, to help people, because sometimes people get, when they're on, um people will, I'm trying to think how I wanted to phrase this. People will reach a point in their life, in their journey, where they will have this awareness that they are tired of how their body feels, how their mind feels, even how their spirit feels. They feel suppressed and exhausted. And, a lot of times we just explain that away as this is part of life, because you have maybe, you're a family unit, you have multiple kids running around, and you're always trying to chase the kids. You got all the activities that the kids get to. You're driving the kids to different events. Um, you're working all day. You got to get home, cook dinner, clean the house, and it at some point you will sit there and sometimes even pray, and it's like, God, is this it? Is this what life is supposed to be? Is this how I'm supposed to feel? And the short answer is no, that's not how you're supposed to feel. It's not. And when we get to that epiphany moment, sometimes it has been going on for so long. You've been to the doctors over and over and over, and they keep telling you everything is fine, but here, take a pill. And something is off, something is wrong, and can be different, and you don't know where to start to get out of it, because the medical system doesn't typically help you get out of it. They're there for symptom control. They Because that's what people want. They just want that. And so it feeds into the topic for today, talking about that, because we're going to talk about healing, and what steers some people away from maybe considering a holistic healing route is the fact that some holistic healing takes a little bit of time. Okay. It's not an overnight relief type of situation. Um, and so I think I've got some good content here. We'll walk through that. Before I dive in, though, the life here on the homestead, we're virtually out of snow. There's a couple pockets of snow, but I want to give a shout out to my son and his wife. Yesterday, they had their second daughter, be my second grandchild, and I couldn't be more excited for them. I'm hoping maybe to get down there today to see them, or maybe tomorrow, um, because I know bringing a new life into your household can be a little chaotic. So I understand if they say, wait till tomorrow, to give them a little bit of time. But yeah, that happened. So I'm pretty excited about that. And couldn't be more proud of my son and his wife for bringing in a new life. Just such a wonderful blessing and experience. So, all right. Yeah, thanks, Christine. And if you're just joining the show, let's see here. If you're just joining the show, pop into the comments and say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. It's always kind of fun. Thanks, Janae. It's always kind of fun to see where people are picking up the stream. And so, all right. So we're gonna we're gonna talk about, one of the biggest problems that I run into with people, when I'm starting out with new clients and stuff, one of the biggest, it's not really a problem, it's one of the biggest challenges, um, is they'll come in and they'll say they want healing, okay? But what they actually want is speed. And those aren't the same thing, okay? So I'm going to say that again because some of you need to hear it twice. You say you want healing, but what you're really chasing is something fast. You want it gone. You want the symptom gone. You want the pain gone. You want the anxiety gone. You want the weight gone. You want the fatigue gone. And you want it gone now. Okay? And listen, I get it. I get it. Because you've been uncomfortable. You've been frustrated. You've been dealing with this for months, years, sometimes decades. I have a couple clients that have been dealing with some of this stuff for decades. So when something shows up and says, hey, take this, and that goes away, of course you're going to take it. That's human. But here's what you got to have a real conversation. Here's where we've got to have a real conversation this morning, okay? Because what you've been taught to expect is not how the body actually works. You've been trained into a model where symptom relief equals progress, where if you feel better, it must mean you're getting better. And those two things are not the same. Not even close. Hold on. I just remembered, and then start this go live button on Instagram. So sorry if you're picking it up midstream there. Because, and those two things aren't even close. I see it every single week in my office. People come in and they tell me, Doc, I feel great when I was on that medication. I felt great. And I look at them and I go, I don't doubt that for a second. You probably did feel better. But the problem is you weren't better. Your body wasn't better. Your systems weren't better. Your physiology was not restored. You just didn't feel it anymore. And we've built an entire culture around not feeling it. Think about that. Headache? Shut it off. Acid reflux? Shut it off. Anxiety? Shut it off. Can't sleep? Knock yourself out. And nobody stops and asks the question, why is this happening in the first place? Because that question takes time. That question takes effort. That question requires you to actually change something. And most people don't want to change. They want relief. And again, I'm not saying that to beat you up. I'm saying that because if you don't understand this, you will stay stuck in this cycle forever. I call that the medical meat grinder. You'll stay on that medical meat grinder until you decide to get off of it. Up and down, better and worse. Try something, stop something, try something else. And you never actually get your life back. So today I want to walk you through something that might challenge you a little bit, but if you actually hear what I'm saying, it will change how you approach your health for the rest of your life. Because we're going to talk about this idea of why real healing takes time. And why the fact that it takes time is actually the proof that you're finally doing it right. Now, I know some of you don't like that. You don't want that to be true. You want me to tell you there's a shortcut. You want me to tell you there's one thing you're missing. One supplement, one protocol, one hack, and everything just clicks. But that's not how it works. Not in the real world. Not in the body and not in physiology. Healing is not something that you force. It's something you allow. And there's a big difference there. Because when you try to force the body, you suppress it. When you work with the body, you restore it. And restoration, that takes time. Not because something is wrong, but because finally something is being done right. And that's what we're going to unpack today, because if I can get you to shift this one belief from chasing speed to understanding process, you stop quitting. You stop jumping from thing to thing, and you finally start moving forward. So let's get into it. Grab your coffee. And we're going to talk about the illusion of speed. Now, I might have to pull my blind down a little bit. Okay. All right. So let's start here. All right. Because if we don't get this piece right, nothing else I say today is going to land. All right. Most people have been trained, and this used to include me, not by accident, but by design, to believe that fast equals effective. You've been conditioned into it. Dare I say, you've been programmed into it. You get a headache. You take something. 20 minutes later, it's gone. You've got heartburn. You take something. It settles down. You're anxious. You take something. You calm down. You can't sleep. You take something. And you're out. So your brain starts to build this association. This worked because it was fast. But let me ask you something. Did it actually fix anything? Or did it just change what you were feeling? Because those are two very different outcomes. And most people never stop long enough to question that. They just go, well, it worked. No, it responded. It changed your experience. But it didn't change your physiology. So let me give you a real simple way to look at this. If your check engine light comes on in your vehicle, and you go under the dash and cut the wire, did you fix the engine? Or did you just turn off the light? That's what we're doing. Over and over and over again. We are turning off signals without ever addressing the reason the signal was there. And here's the dangerous part. The better it works in the short term, the more it convinces you it's the right approach. Because now you feel relief. And relief is powerful. Relief makes you believe you're moving forward. Relief makes you believe you're getting somewhere. But underneath that, nothing has changed. In some cases, it's getting worse. And I see this all the time. people come in and they've been managing something for years, years. And when we actually start digging, that manageable issue has turned into something much deeper. It's more systemic, it's more layered. Why? Because the body has been trying to communicate the whole time. And it's been shut down every step of the way. So now when they finally get to a place where they're like, all right, I'm ready to actually fix this, they expect that same speed. They expect that same turnaround. And when it doesn't happen, they think something's wrong. They think, this isn't working. And that's where I step in and say, no, this is the first time your body has actually had a chance to speak. And we're finally listening. So yeah, it's going to look different. It's going to feel different because we're not chasing the symptom anymore. We're asking a completely different question now. What is my body trying to do and why can't it do it? That's a different game, and different games have different timelines. So if you're sitting there right now and you've been frustrated because things aren't happening as fast as you want them to, I want you to consider something. Maybe slow doesn't mean it's not working. Maybe slow means this is the first time you're actually dealing with something real. A lot of times I'll tell some of my clients when they're sitting in the chair in front of me during my intake process, it's a good news, bad news kind of thing. The bad news is, let's say that person is 55 years old. The bad news is it took them 55 years to sit in chair in front of me. The good news is it won't take us 55 years to unravel the shit that their body has been driven through over that time. Okay? But we need time. And they're in holistic healing, I call it real healing. There are no overnight solutions. But when real healing takes place, it's for the long term. It's like when you get to that point, it's like you've stepped into a new body. And now while you're in that new body, you recognize that you don't want to go back to the way it was because this is the best you've felt. That's what I can say about my life right now. I'm 60 years old and I'm in the best, I've felt the best in my life as I do now. All right, so let's keep going. What healing actually requires. Okay, let's talk about that. So now that we've cleared that up, that fast does not equal fixed. We've got to answer the next question. What actually has to happen for the body to heal? Because this is where most people have no framework. They've never been taught this. They've only been taught, take this for that. That's it. No context, no understanding, no process. So let me lay this out for you real simply. Healing is not one action. It is a series of coordinated events inside the body. It's systems talking to each other. It's cells doing their job. It's pathways being open. It's the body having enough resources to actually repair. And here's the part that most people miss. Your body is not sitting around waiting to heal you. It is constantly asking one question. Am I safe enough to do that right now? That's it. Because if the body does not feel safe, it will not prioritize healing. It will prioritize survival. Every single time. So let's make this real. If your body is dealing with chronic stress, poor sleep, nutritional depletion, toxic load, inflammation, it's not going to go, hey, let's go fix that skin issue, or hey, let's go balance hormones. Hey, let's go clean up digestion. No. It's going to go, we've got bigger problems. We need to conserve energy. We need to protect. We need to adapt. And that's what people are living in, a constant state of adaptation. Not healing, adaptation. And adaptation keeps you functioning, but it doesn't restore you. And that's why so many people say, I'm getting by, but I don't feel right. Of course you don't. Your body is compensating. It's not recovering. So when someone comes into my world, we don't start with what symptom do we attack first. That's the old model. We start with what is preventing this body from healing in the first place. That's a different question. Because now we're looking at things like, are detox pathways open? Is the nervous system regulated? Are we supporting digestion and absorption? Does the body even have the raw materials it needs? Because if those things aren't in place, you can't throw all the right things at the body and nothing sticks. Let me rephrase it. You can throw all the right things at the body and nothing will stick. Nothing, okay? And this is where people get frustrated. They say, I've tried supplements, I've tried medications, I've tried protocols, I've tried diets. Yeah. But was your body ready for any of that? Or were you just adding more on top of a system that was already overwhelmed? Because if that's the case, you're not helping the body, you're adding pressure to it. Add pressure, and pressure does not create healing. It creates more stress. So now you start to see the difference here. Healing isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things in the right order at the right time. And that right there is why this takes time. Because you're not forcing an outcome. You're building a foundation. And foundations, those are not built overnight. Okay? It takes time to build that foundation and get things back into normalcy and get the energy back in there and get the resources back in there and give your body time to balance all of that and get that foundation solidified. And once that's in place, then it can really start true healing. That takes time. But why it takes time? Okay. Now we're going to get into that part. Let me grab some coffee here. Now we're going to get into that part that most people don't want to hear. Okay? But it's the part that will set you free if you actually understand it. Why does this take time? And I'm not going to sugarcoat this, because if I do, I'm doing you a disservice. The reason it takes time is because what you're dealing with didn't happen overnight, as I said before. And more importantly, your body is not designed to reverse years of stress in a weekend. That's just not how this works. So let me break this down for you. First, you're not dealing with one problem. You are dealing with layers, years of layers. You have layers of stress, layers of poor sleep, layer of nutritional gaps, layer of inflammation, layer of toxicity. And those layers didn't stack in a straight line. They stacked on top of each other. So now when you finally decide, all right, I'm ready to fix this, you're not peeling one thing back. You're unraveling a system. And systems don't unwind instantly. They reorganize. And that's the word I want you to hear, reorganize. Because healing is not just about removal, it's restructuring. Your body has adapted to survive. Now it has to learn how to function again. and that takes time. Second, the body works in priority order. Not your priority, its priority. And this is where people get frustrated, because you come in and say, I want my gut fixed, or I want my hormones fixed or balanced, I want my energy back. And the body goes, that's not first. We've got to deal with this over here first. And you don't always feel that right away. Sometimes you don't even understand it. But the body knows. It will always go after what is most critical for survival before it moves into optimization. So you might be doing everything right and still not seeing the change you want yet. That doesn't mean it's not working. It means the body is handling something deeper first. Okay? And third, you cannot rush physiology. You can't. Cells regenerate on timelines. Tissues repair on timelines. There's a rhythm to the body. And as I say that out loud, what image comes to mind is the best way to describe this. If you've seen people or have experienced it, a broken bone. And the bone is put up in a cast. Okay? Right there is visual evidence that your body takes time to heal. It's going to take 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, whatever it is, for the bones to heal and the tissue to repair around the damage. And then you can take the cast off, and you know you have more time because you have to exercise and work up the muscles and tendons and get strength back into that area because it's been in a cast. That's the visual representation of time. Now, where people, I think, get frustrated is when you come in with some other chronic malady, some other chronic, long-standing health issue. Well, there's no broken bones involved. And so there's an expectation. You can't see it. You can feel it, but there's still that expectation that we should be able to fix this overnight. Clap our hands and make it right. Okay. All right. I got to let the dog in. I'll be right back. Yeah, you're a good boy. Yeah. It's cold out there. It's about 15 degrees out, so I can let him in. Sorry about that. But it's such a distinction. And cells regenerate on timelines, tissues repair on timelines, organs recover on timelines. Okay? There's a rhythm to the body. And when you've been out of rhythm for years, you don't snap back into it overnight. You rebuild it piece by piece, day by day, decision by decision. And I know that's not sexy. I know that doesn't sell well. I know that's not what people want to hear, but it's the truth. And here's the shift I want you to make. You're not sitting around waiting for healing to happen to you. You are actively participating in it. Every choice you make either supports that process or slows it down. So instead of asking, why is this taking so long? Start asking, what is my body working on right now? Because when you ask that question, you move from frustration into understanding. And once you understand the process, you stop fighting it. And that's where things really start to change. And It reminds me of one of a process that I put all my clients through. I have food journaling because I like to study the food that they're eating. I don't put people on diets. Diets don't work. We all know this. Um, I have people with food journals so I can study what they're actually eating, and it brings awareness to them what they're actually eating. Two, it gives me data to work with on helping break their case and solve their case. But in terms of talking about when you're actively participating in your journey, every choice that you make either supports the process or slows it down. And so over time, people learn on their food journal that they're participating, and when they support the process, they're not eating the things that I've asked them to not eat, or they'll make a decision, as I did last night. I went out and I had 2 beers. Okay. I know this is not good for my body, and that is taking away and slowing down my own process of healing. Okay. And I have data this morning that directly shows that when I look at my, the Aura Ring stats, my sleep stats, I know that my sleep number came in lower than it should have because yesterday I had 2 beers. And so you can start to see that that's a direct correlation for me anyways, that my choice last night slowed down my process. Okay. So let's go deeper on that because it can lead into the frustration phase of things. Okay. Right here, this is the moment where most people lose it. Not physically, but mentally. Okay. This is where they check out. This is where they start second guessing everything. This is where they go, I don't know if this is working. And I see it all the time. Because you hit this phase where you're not where you used to be, but you're not where you want to be yet either. You're in the middle. And the middle is uncomfortable. Because in the beginning, it's easy. You're motivated, you're hopeful, you've made a decision, you're like, all right, I'm doing this. And you feel that initial momentum. Maybe your energy bumps a little. Maybe your digestion shifts. Maybe something starts to move. And you're like, okay, here we go. Maybe for the first time, you've got some hope. And you're like, okay, here we go. But then it slows down, or it plateaus, or something weird happens. A symptom shifts. Something flares up. You feel off for a few days. And now your brain kicks in. Wait a second. Is this right? Did I make a mistake? Should I go back to what I was doing? This is the danger zone right here. Okay? Because what most people don't understand is this is not failure. This is reorganization. Your body is adjusting. It's recalibrating. It's literally trying to figure out how to function differently than it has for years. And that's not a straight line. It's messy. It's up and down. It's sideways. It's forward. And if you're expecting it to look clean and predictable, you're going to think something is wrong. But nothing's wrong. Something is actually happening. And this is where I have to get very direct with people because this is where discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you in it. Because if you only stay committed when you feel progress, you will never make it through this phase. Ever. You'll quit. You'll jump to the next thing. You'll go back to what gave you quick relief, because at least that was predictable, even if it wasn't real. And that's the trap. The trap is going back to something that feels better fast instead of staying with something that actually works over time. So when someone is in this phase, I look at them and I tell them straight, this is the work. Not the beginning, not the excitement, not the decision. This right here, staying in it when it's not sexy, staying in it when it's not obvious, staying in it when you don't have all the proof yet, because this is where the body is doing the deeper work. The stuff you don't see right away. The stuff that actually sets you up for real change. So if you're in that place right now where you're questioning it, where you're unsure, where you're wondering if this is worth it, I want you to hear me very clearly. You are not stuck. You are in process. And if you can stay in that process long enough, that's when everything starts to turn. All right. So let's bring this home. All right. Because this is the part where I'm going to draw a line, and I'm not doing it to push people away. I'm doing it because this is where the separation actually happens. Okay. Most people don't fail because the process doesn't work. They fail because they won't stay in it long enough to see it through. That's it. It's not lack of information. It's not lack of options. It's not even lack of effort. It's lack of commitment to the process. Because we've been trained to expect fast. We've been trained to expect convenient. We've been trained to expect that if something doesn't change quickly, it must not be working. And that mindset will destroy your ability to actually heal. Because healing requires something most people are not willing to give. Time, consistency, patience. And let me say something that might hit a little hard. Some of you don't actually want to change. You want to feel better, but you don't want to live different. You want the result without the responsibility. And that doesn't work here. Not in this model. Not in real healing. Because this isn't about finding the next thing to take. It's about becoming the person who actually supports their body. Day in and day out. Even when it's inconvenient, even when it's boring, even when you don't feel like it. That's where the shift happens. And this is why I'm very selective about who I work with, okay? Because I already know if someone is still chasing fast, they're going to quit. If someone is still looking for the shortcut, they're going to jump ship. If someone is not willing to stay in the process, they're not going to get the outcome. And I'm not interested in dragging people through something that they're not committed to, that doesn't serve them, and it doesn't serve me. I won't drag people across the finish line. I can't do the work for them. For you. You have to do the work. I will coach you. So yeah, you can have fast, you can absolutely have fast. You can go back to what gives you quick relief. And if that's where you're at right now, then that's your decision, okay? But if you want real, if you actually want your body to function the way it was designed to, if you want energy, clarity, stability, not just for a moment, but consistently, then you're going to have to choose something different. You're going to have to choose process over speed. You're going to have to choose consistency over convenience. And you're going to have to stay in it long enough to let the body do what it was designed to do. That's the truth. So now the question becomes, what do you actually do with all of this? Let me see here. I thought I had another aside. I did. Um, I want to just drive that point home. I have another aside to the tail of this conversation, okay? And it's one of those, I want to be real for a minute, because some people hear me say this and they don't quite understand it at first. When I say that I don't work with everyone, um, it's important. That's not ego, okay? That's responsibility. Because what we're talking about here, the process, this level of change, it requires something from you. This isn't passive. I don't just build a program, give it to you, and say, all right, good luck, see you in a couple months. Okay? We're going to work together throughout the whole program. That's what a health coach does. You don't just show up, take a few things, and disappear until the next visit. You have to be engaged. You have to be willing to adjust. You have to be willing to stay in it, especially when it's not convenient. And if someone isn't ready for that, they're not going to get the outcome. And if they don't get the outcome, they're going to think the process doesn't work. When in reality, they just didn't stay in it long enough or weren't truly committed to it. And I'm not interested in putting someone through that. Not for them and not for me. Because I take this seriously. When someone steps into my care, I'm all in on helping them move forward. But that only works if they're all in too. So I look for people who are ready. I pray for God to send people to me who are ready for my type of care. Not perfect, not fully dialed in, but ready to stop chasing and ready to actually follow a process. Because when I get that person, that's when the magic happens. That's when things change. That's when we actually see the body start to turn. So if you've ever wondered why I don't just take everyone who reaches out, that's why. Because this only works for people who are truly ready to do the work. It's a different level of standard of care. And I am so serious about that standard of care. And I want to provide that consistently to my clients. All right. So what do you actually do with all this, okay? I don't want you walking away from this conversation just thinking, all right, I guess I just need to wait longer. That's not the message. Okay? This isn't about sitting around hoping things get better. This is about getting clear direction. That's what I'm providing you. Because one of the biggest reasons people get stuck, it's not because they're unwilling. It's because they're guessing. They're trying things, stopping things, adding things, removing things. And there's no structure to it, no sequence, no understanding of what the body is actually doing. So they end up spinning, and time passes. But nothing really changes. And that's the difference in how I approach this, okay? When someone comes into my world, we're not guessing, we're not chasing symptoms. we're identifying what is stressing your system right now, what is your body prioritizing, what is it actually ready to handle, because if you don't know that, you can be doing good things in the wrong order, and you'll get nowhere. So the first step is not a supplement, it's not a protocol, it's not a diet, it's clarity. Clarity on what your body is dealing with and clarity on what it needs next. Because once you have that, now you can actually move forward with purpose. Now you're not just hoping something works. You're following a process. And that's where everything starts to shift. That's where the frustration starts to settle down. Because now you understand what's happening. You're not just feeling your way through it anymore. You've got direction. And that direction is what allows you to stay in it long enough to actually see it through. So if you're sitting there right now and you're realizing, yeah, I've been guessing, I've been bouncing from thing to thing, I've been trying to go fast and getting nowhere, then this is your moment to do something different. Not more, different. So here's what that looks like. If you're done guessing, if you're done chasing symptoms, if you're done starting and stopping and never actually getting anywhere, then the next step is simple. You start with a QNT, quantum nutrition testing full assessment. That's it. This is where I sit down and we figure out what your body is actually dealing with, what's stressing your system, what's out of order, and most importantly, what your body is ready for right now. Because that last piece, that's where most people get it wrong. They jump ahead. They try to fix things their body isn't ready to fix yet. And through quantum nutrition testing, when we have our weekly check-ins on my program, you're following the process I lay out for you. We check in weekly with quantum nutrition testing. We can ask the body, what is it ready for next? The body will tell us every single step of the way what is next. So because when we try to fix things that the body isn't ready to fix yet, people will wonder why nothing works. So we take that off the table. We get clear, we get specific, and we build this the right way from the ground up. Now, understand this. This is not for everyone. If you're still looking for fast, if you're still looking for easy, if you're still looking for something to just make it go away, this isn't it. But if you're ready to actually understand your body, if you're ready to commit to a process that works, if you're ready to stop spinning your wheels, then go to evensonholistic.com. Actually, let me turn this on. Put that on the bottom there. Evensonholistic.com, or you can call me. Okay, schedule your Q&T full assessment, and we'll take a look at what's really going on and what it's actually going to take to move you forward. Okay, now that process, it does cost money for the initial assessment. Okay, if you go to my website, there's a special running right now. It pops up as soon as you get to the page, evensonholistic.com. Write down that promo code. That session will run us through a process where we'll do the full assessment with you. Okay. It's also an opportunity for you to interview me to see if I'm somebody that you can work with. And it's also for me to see if your case is something I'm able to work with, or to see if you're looking for that fast, easy route. Okay. And at the end of the assessment, we'll have another visit and we'll go over the report of findings, and I'll tell you I have time to determine if we're the right fit for each other. Okay. That process costs money. It's not a lot of money, but it's time. And sometimes you'll come out of that process and discover that we're not going to be a good fit for each other. Okay. But I will still encourage you to find someone that you can work with. But here's another route. Okay, let me throw this in here real quick, because I know some of you are sitting there thinking, all right, this makes sense, but I don't even know if I'm ready for all of that yet. That's fair. Okay, so here's another option for you. If you're not quite ready to jump into a full assessment, but you want to have a real conversation, you can book a free discovery call with me. This is simple. Go to the same website, schedule online. You'll hit the button on the beginning in the middle of the page, and there'll be an option on the schedule page to book a discovery call. This is simple. We get on the phone, we talk through what's been going on, what you've tried, where you're stuck, and I'll give you some direction. Okay. I'll tell you straight whether this is something I can help you with or whether you're not quite there yet. There's no pressure, no guessing, just clarity. So if you need that first step, take it, book the call. Let's have the conversation. And we'll figure out what makes the most sense for you moving forward. And if you're on the medical merry-go-round, the medical meat grinder, what do you have to lose at this point? That's the question I asked when I stepped out of the medical meat grinder, is what did I have to lose? Because I was getting nowhere with conventional options. I was getting no solutions. You've heard me say it on the show before. It's like the system just keeps you well enough to keep coming back. Okay. And that's the difference. I'm hoping to help you heal your body where you can take control of your health back and not ever have to, get to the point where you don't have to come work with me anymore if you don't want to. Sometimes I joke with, other people, my job is to work myself out of a job with you. That's what coaches do. Coaches train their players well enough to succeed on the playing field, so someday maybe they'll be able to coach, but even better is they can coach themselves through the rest of their life. That is what I want for people. Then maybe they can coach their families or coach the people around them. Okay. So look, fast got you here. That's the truth. Fast relief, fast fixes, fast decisions. And here you are, still dealing with the same issues as I just described. So maybe it's time to stop asking, how do I make this go away? And start asking, what is this trying to show me? Because your body is not working against you, it's trying to work for you. It just hasn't had the support or the conditions to do it properly. And once you understand that, once you shift from speed to process, everything changes. You stop chasing, you stop guessing, you stop quitting, and you finally start moving forward. Thank you, Christine. Christine says, I'm a wonderful practitioner. I appreciate that. All right. So hopefully you got something out of the show today. You know, you got a couple options. You can schedule a free call, or you can just jump right in and do the full assessment. Um, Either choice is a decision to start moving out of where you're at. Okay. And folks, sometimes we all need a coach to help pull us out of the pit that we got ourselves into. There's no shame in that. There's no embarrassment in that. It's just all of a sudden you finally realize you're in the pit and now you don't know how to get out. And so you get out by working with people like me. I want to help you out of that. So let's close with a prayer. Lord, thank you for the wisdom you built into the body, for the ability to heal, restore, and adapt. Give us patience in the process, clarity in our decisions, and discipline to follow through. Help us to trust what you've created and to take responsibility for how we care for it. Through your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. All right, that's all I have for you today, folks. Really appreciate you listening, episode 92. We will talk to you next week and look forward to seeing you on the schedule. All right, talk to you later.